Bringing the streets of Asia to Orlando with your best friends and 90s rap. Welcome to the Orlando Real Estate Lifestyle, where we explore the intersection of Orlando real estate and your best life. I'm Phil Kruse, here to help you make the most out of your journey in the city beautiful. Today, I'll be interviewing Kaleb Harrell, the CEO and co-founder of one of my favorite restaurants, Hawker's Asian Street Food. Kaleb was named 2021 CEO of the Year, and as a fellow UCF grad, he identifies as an avid 90s hip hop fan. Under Kaleb's leadership, Hawker's has been named as one of Central Florida's top 100 privately held companies, and it was even named on the Michelin Restaurant Guide in 2022. Let's find out how we did all this. Kaleb, welcome to the Orlando Real Estate Lifestyle, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Phil. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent. I'm doing so good. I'm so excited to have you on here. And before we dig into our first questions, I just want to let the listeners know that Kaleb right now is going through some pretty significant growth with the Hawker's brand and what he's got going on. He is doing a $7.5 million fundraising campaign. So if you're out there and you're interested in investing in Kaleb or in the Hawker's brand, make sure you check out the information I'm going to provide in my show notes in the description on Spotify and Apple. You scroll down into the text of the description and you're going to find out how to contact me or Kaleb directly if you're interested in getting involved in that fundraising. And one more thing, Kaleb just opened another location in Atlanta. He is hot fire, guys. And while I'm plugging everybody, I might as well plug myself. I am a real estate agent, and one of my main lead sources are listeners like you. When it's your time to make a real estate decision, or your friend's time, or your family member's time, and you're talking about it over a beer, let them know about me. Phil Kruse, that's Kruse with a K. You can Google me, Kruse, throw the words real estate on there. You're going to find me, and jump on my podcast platform when you're looking to invest that $7.5 million with Kaleb, and subscribe to my podcast so you get notifications every Monday when I drop new episodes. All right, let's dig deep with Kaleb. Here comes a real tough question for you, buddy.
All right, let's do it.
Biggie or Tupac?
Oh, that's easy. Biggie all day.
Nice.
All day.
Nice.
I do love a good changes. Listen, Tupac is very talented, but I mean, Biggie was just a special talent. I don't know. Yeah. Personal
Who
opinion.
is your favorite rapper from the 90s? From when we grew up?
Honestly, it's probably Andre from Outkast. I love Outkast. It just like, to be honest, I love hip hop. But what I love the most is just really good lyricists, and I think that's why I like hip hop and rap a lot. I don't love rap just for, I mean, the beats are fun and whatever, but I love any music that's like really well thought lyrics and good lyricists. And so, like the Hamilton play, I forget the guy, the guy's famous that wrote that. Like that stuff to me is just incredible. It doesn't have to be about about things that rap are usually about. The topic is almost like the secondary to just quality lyrics and how you put words together and things like that.
Well, how appropriate that you just opened a restaurant in Atlanta, which of course anyone out there listening who's a 90s buff knows that Outkast is from ATL, Georgia. What do they do for you? How's that? I love you.
It perfect. That was perfect.
All right, so let's pivot back to you and Hawker's and your business growth. I always heard the old adage, and went through this myself in the past. Mm-hmm. People always say, don't open a business with your friends if you guys want to stay friends. Well, you opened Hawker's and some other businesses with 4 of your best friends, and you guys are a smash success. So how do you react to that old cliche, don't work with your friends?
Yeah, I think that there just has to be, in some ways, I think we lucked out. But in retrospect, right, if I'm trying to think about like, why did it work? Because we've talked about it before. We've talked about how this is such an anomaly. I think that there was always a tremendous amount of mutual respect among all 4 partners, with each one of us had a very different skill set. Like we were very different people. We had really similar interests, but we were very different people with very different skills. And so I never, I was never the final voice on the food, right? I have a great palate. I love food. I love cooking at home, but I know that at the end of the day, Alan or Ken would trump me on the food, right? Wayne has always been a more tech forward, just person in general than the rest of us. And so, oh, here we go. I'm getting some thumbs up bubbles. So when he would have ideas on whether it was a new tech stack or a new technology we could look to implement, or more just kind of more forward thinking, we would always hear him out and vet it. And so I think it was just this mutual respect that we all brought something different to the table, and also very candid, intentional conversations up front and ongoing about our relationship. And I mean, I'm not going to say it was perfect. We had our moments. I mean, naturally, if you're building something together, and you have any level of passion for it, you're going to have conflicting opinions sometimes. And I think at the end of the day, we all knew that we all wanted the same goal. And it was just a matter of, the question was, how do we get there? And so many times we were aligned, and other times we were maybe not aligned, but we had the respect of, okay, well, I'm hearing that, like, you have a different opinion, but let's talk through it. Why do you feel this way and I feel this way? And we still do that. I mean, that's still something we have healthy conflict. And I feel like it's like any good marriage, quite frankly, right? It's like you have to be able to have conflict. A good marriage doesn't mean you get along with everything you do. It means you have conflict and you work through it together.
Absolutely. I love it how you right away pointed out the fact that you guys complement each other in a lot of ways. And you didn't just work with one friend, right? You worked with four friends. And so you bring all their different talents and backgrounds to the table. And I can just tell by your vibe and the way you just delivered that you are someone who's patient, and that's what it requires, just like in a marriage. So
That's right.
hats off to you for being able to manage all that and work with your friends. And there's nothing better in life than experiencing positive growth, experiencing new things and joy with your loved ones. So congrats on that, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, we talk a lot about, I think that's one of the motivators too, is that at the end of the day, if you build something really cool, but you have no one to share it with,
Yeah.
kind of what's the point, right? Like that's not, it's not what life's about. So
No, it's not. We can all live forever, but if we're bored and miserable, nobody wants to do that.
what's the point? Yeah, exactly.
So I love the food at your restaurant, like I said. The roti cani, am I pronouncing that correctly?
No, you butchered that, Phil. That's
Can you
okay.
do it for me?
Roti Chinoy. It's kind of like a J. It's like Chinoy. So
Okay.
CHJ Chinoy.
Roti Genoa, just for the listener to
Yep,
know out
Roti
there, it's
Chinoy.
spelled with a C. So you
It
can
is.
forgive my mispronunciation, but
And I'm joking with you because most of our servers mispronounce it, so it's like an internal joke. A lot of people call it roti canai, but yes, go ahead.
okay. Well, I'll call it roti genoy for now.
Hmm.
And I can drink that curry sauce out of the bowl as if it was a soup. It's spicy, but I love it. And I absolutely love the spiced lamb street skewers. They're simple, but so savory and delicious. I want to know, Caleb, you guys have such a diverse menu. What's your favorite dish at Hawkers?
Ooh, that's hard. I will say one of the things that I love about Hawkers, and this is not just a plug. This is like a real. I'm going to answer this a long roundabout way, but I will get there. I promise.
All right, sure.
So when we started Hawkers, we really none of us had any corporate restaurant experience. We all kind of had some level of mom and pop restaurant in our family backgrounds. But I think one of the reasons that we were successful in what we built is that we built it through the eyes of the guest, and so it was always about, what do I want as a guest, right? And so one of the things that we thought a lot about was, I want a place where I can go in gym shorts, but I can also take a date there and still feel comfortable. And so one of the things that we love about Hawkers and the vibe that we try to create is that it's kind of multi-occasional. Like it fits almost every occasion. You could do a birthday party, or you could, come in with your buddy, or you could bring a business meeting there, and it kind of fits all of it. So all that to say, I think that it really depends on the day and like on the occasion. I know it's a cop out, so I'll give you an answer.
It's all
If I
right.
had to pick one,
Yeah.
it would probably be our curry laksa ramen soup. And so
Love it.
even on a like 95-degree day, I can crush some soup, and it's got, and to your point, it has the same mother sauce that curry dipping sauce has. It's kind of like cut from the same paste.
Okay.
and we make a soup broth out of it, and then it's got these like really like al dente, springy ramen noodles in it, and
Mhm.
it's got chicken and tofu and the fried crispy onions on top. Like it's delicious and depths of flavor. I love it.
Well, I'll tell you, if the listener is enjoying this podcast at lunchtime or dinner time, I have a feeling I know where they're headed because I think I just decided where I'm eating tonight. I am a ramen, not connoisseur, but huge fan. I love Domu, and
Yeah,
and
great
I don't
ramen.
recall ever having the ramen at your restaurant. So you better believe that that's going to be the next thing I order when I go there.
Nice. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's so good. Um, Guys, another quick side note. I'm obviously interviewing Kaleb. I just interviewed Thomas Ward, the owner of Pig Floyd's. I've interviewed Kelly Sen, the owner of Orlando Power Yoga, and Chase Connor, the owner of Grass Fed Beef. I'm going to continue to be interviewing restaurateurs and other Orlando celebrities like the poet laureate, Sean Welcome. And of course, this is the real estate lifestyle podcast, Orlando real estate. So I have a lot of topics on my podcast specifically about real estate, like tips for home buyers, like an interview with a financial planner and a mortgage broker, how to buy a lake house, like I did, both parts 1 and 2. So jump on my podcast, subscribe, give me a 5-star review. It does really help me a lot. And check out all the other episodes and interviews. And every Monday, I'm going to drop a new one, just like this one. All right. So back to Kaleb. Kaleb, another fun fact I found out about you with the beautiful tools of the internet we have is that you're a sneaker guy. So I want to know, how many pairs of shoes do you own?
Oh no, don't ask me
Roughly.
that, Phil. It's
Oh yeah.
embarrassing.
Sorry.
Well, again, I'll give you the long answer, which is out. My partner Alan actually got me into shoes, and he has more than I do. So I want to start with that. Uh, I think if I had to guess, it's not an exorbitant amount. Probably, maybe let's see, maybe like 50.
50. Well, look, you're a successful guy. You don't get CEO of the year and have 12 restaurants nationwide without having the ability to afford some creature comforts and quirky hobbies like shoe collections. Do you have a pair of sneakers that is like at the top, like a Jordan certain year or something like that, that's like a
Oh,
mecca for you that you own?
yeah, probably Jordan threes. Those are probably like my favorites right now. I did have a pair. This is a sad story. I had a pair of these Air Max 90s that were in this kind of desert tan color, and they were like suede. They were this like tan suede material,
Nice.
really cool. Like they dressed up nice with jeans and stuff. And I very seldom wore them. I would wear them like once a year at a special occasion. And I took them to our recent Atlanta opening, and I was going to wear them for one of our VIP nights at the opening. And sadly, my rental car got broken into, and all my stuff got taken, and those shoes were in the bag. And now I can't even find a pair anymore. I'm going on StockX trying to search for them. So it was a sad day. There were some other things in there that were sad to lose, but the sneakers hurt pretty bad.
I bet, especially since they're irreplaceable and probably worth a lot. I'm sorry to hear that, but it's fun. I love the quirks of different people when you get to know them a little bit. I'm going to
Mhm.
pivot back to Hawkers though. One of the cool things about that restaurant, your restaurant, is how diverse the menu is, and I can't figure this out. How many cultures roughly do you think are represented on the Hawkers menu? Like
Yeah,
countries,
that's a good
countries of
right.
culture.
Countries, yeah, yeah, and that is two different things, right? Because I think about Malaysia, which is just Malaysia, Singapore, which are I guess two countries essentially, but so much cultural influence from India and China and Indonesia. But if we're just looking at countries for the sake of getting a number, probably Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Korea, one of the Koreas, Japan.
You don't have any North
For sure,
Korean
China.
cuisine on
No,
there?
no. I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I haven't been there.
You probably do.
China, yeah, probably China. I don't know what we're calling Taiwan anymore.
Sure.
So I don't know, a 9, 8, something like that. It's a lot for sure.
That is a lot, and that's so awesome. That's to me one of the things that makes your restaurant so great is no matter how many times you go there, you seem to always be able to find something new. Like you pointed out the ramen. Oftentimes when I go to your restaurant, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get these core things. And, this, I don't view Hawkers as a quote ramen place. Clearly
Right.
that's an incorrect assumption. So, to the listener out there, be bold, be creative in your choices. If we got almost 10 countries represented, you're going to find something great every time. I want to change subjects a little bit. I have a feeling the listener out there probably doesn't realize that, you didn't get your start professionally as a restaurateur. You and one of your friends, I forget which, you guys actually came out of UCF and started a branding agency and were extremely successful with huge clients, corporate clients like Disney and Chevrolet. So if you have a successful branding agency chugging along, obviously growing, why on earth would you blow that all up and start a restaurant?
Well, first, I think we've got to be careful about the word successful because it was, we were making it work. We were paying our bills, and we did. We had some opportunities with some really big clients that were very fun. Um, but wouldn't be fair to say that we were, an uber successful agency.
Okay.
I think it was me. It was Wayne. So my buddy Wayne and I, and my now business partner Wayne and I, we both we both graduated from UCF. We both came out with a finance degree. We both graduated in 2004 or five. So when you graduated in that time, you naturally went into real estate, right? Because that was the time when real estate was just exploding. And so he was working for a home builder at the time, and just making hand over fist. And then I was working in commercial real estate,
Hmm.
and I remember we had a conversation, and we were roommates together at the time, and so we were both sitting at the house, probably after the gym or a basketball game or something. And I was like, man, I really want to just start a business. And he's like, dude, me too. We've been talking about this forever. We should just do it. And so we both go in on the same day and quit our jobs. And I'll
Wow.
never forget. I never forget the conversation was. I went in to my boss and I said, Scott, and Scott's a great guy and still is a great guy. And I was like, hey, Scott, unfortunately, I'm going to put my 2 weeks in, or, I'm going to move on. And he's like, oh man, Kaleb, I'm really sad to hear that. Is there anything I can do to get you to stay? And I said, no, I'm going to start a business. And he's like, well, that's awesome. What kind of business are you going to start? And I was like, I don't know, Scott.
I don't know.
And he just looked at me like, all right, whatever, man. You do you, buddy. We were 20, I don't know, 23, 24,
Yeah.
no responsibilities.
Yeah.
Obviously no kids at the time, no families. So we jumped in, and we spent weeks kind of diving into what do we want to do. And I think we both had this affinity, not necessarily for marketing, because I think that's kind of a generic term,
Sure.
but more for, I think, for like building brands, but I think B, and maybe a deeper level, is the idea of consumer psychology. Like, why do people buy certain things? That was
Sure.
something that always really interested me. So it was as much about psychology and sociology as it was about the look and feel of a brand, right? Which are actually very symbiotic. And so we decided to start this branding agency company, whatever. And it was me and him, and we ended up hiring a couple more people. And we would often go to small businesses, and someone would call us and say, "Hey guys, I need a logo. I need a new look and feel." Okay, cool. And we would go meet with them. And usually the conversation I would kind of be filling out my creative brief, and I would say, okay, so what's your pricing methodology? Well, I don't know. Well, what's your mission, vision, values? Oh, I don't know. Well, here's your target audience. Well, I don't know. And I'm like, let's set the logo aside for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And so we offered a lot more than just design, and it was a lot of consultative work. And what I know now, what I'm looking back on, is it really helped me kind of cut my teeth
Oh
in
yeah.
business. And it was almost like an MBA in working, a working session MBA type of arrangement. So it was awesome. We were doing that, and we were doing okay. Like, we were paying our bills. And we got a call from Alan one day, and we'd been traveling together over the previous decade. Basically, we'd been traveling together and coming back, and always kind of thinking, man, why isn't somebody taking these really authentic street foods from Asia and putting them into a menu that is approachable for Americans?
Seems like common
And
sense to
so,
me.
yeah, right. And so Alan called us, and he's like, "Hey, I've got a lead on a restaurant that's on Mills, and it's not going to make it, and I think we can get into it really cheap." And And I said, Alan, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I don't want to be in the restaurant business. That sounds horrible. 9 out of 10 restaurants fail the first year. 9 out of 10 of the ones that make it fail the second year. You work long hours. No way, man. I'm out. Right. And pretty soon, a couple weeks later, he called me back and he said, "Hey, man, Wayne and Ken are on board. Um, you're gonna be helping us anyways because you're our boys. So you might as well throw in a few bucks, and you'll never lift a finger." And of course,
Famous last
we see,
words, right?
yeah, we see how that went. It was like I was telling Thomas Ward this the other day from Pink Floyd's that Alan and I were talking about how this started as like a almost like a vanity project, or not even vanity, but just kind of like a side, like, hey, let's make a place where we would want to hang out. And if we make a few extra bucks, that would be cool. But we want to make something where we would want to go.
Right.
And of course, yeah, the restaurant world is just not like that. It is a grind. It is a very difficult business. And if you want to do it well, you have to be in it 24/7. And so we opened, we saw lightning in a bottle. We felt like it was being well received. And we all said, let's set aside what we're doing and focus on this 100% and give it a go.
So you actually opened it as a side business. You didn't like put the branding agency to sleep until you realized how successful this restaurant could be. Is that right?
Yeah. So the early days, my days would look something like 8 a.m. to 11:30 would be going to work with, I would dress in normal clothes and go and see my clients and do my work and all this. And then 11:30 to 2, I would put my kitchen grubs on and my non-slips, and I would go work the lunch shift. And then 2 to 4, I would do some computer work. And then 5 to 10, we would do the dinner shift. And then after we cleaned the restaurant, because we couldn't afford a cleaning crew at the time, we would work from like midnight till as long as we could make it, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And that was the time where we worked on the business, like building the infrastructure, building the training material, talking in real time about what worked and what didn't work and what do we want to change. And, oh, that menu item's too hard to execute. Hey, I got bad feedback on this. We should change it. And it was like, it was obviously it was very difficult, but it was so fun because it was just like evolving on the fly. Like every day we were able to change it in real time and meet the consumer needs and demands. And it was fun. It was fun to see the results of it.
It sounds amazing. It sounds like some movie on Netflix about the growth of a restaurant. Maybe Bradley Cooper will play you one day. I don't know.
Oh, wow. Tell my wife that. I love that.
Yeah, well, hopefully she listens. You guys even built your own tables and did your own dishes. I mean, you guys did it all, right? Right at the beginning?
Yeah. Unfortunately, none of us were, I say unfortunately, tongue in cheek, but none of us were trust fund kids. This was a true bootstrapped. I mean,
Yeah.
I sold my car to put money into the business at the beginning. Like we've started it with nothing, and it's been, and I really, really believe that's why we are where we are. Because the business is difficult. Business cycles are difficult. COVID was extremely difficult, but I think having that grit and perseverance kind of baked into us, and also baked into the culture here, is it's really what's gotten us through, call it the last 3 years, but even just the growth story, the growth challenges. I don't think without that grit, we would have made it. So I feel like when you kind of come in with a silver spoon, sometimes it could shoot you in the foot.
Sure, I could understand that completely, and it makes me want to remind the listener who might be thinking of investing in you guys, this is the kind of company that they're going to be investing in. The same owners, you guys are privately held, which is big, and you guys were built bootstrap, grit, this kind of family atmosphere. To me, this is a great place to potentially park your money if you believe in those kind of core values. And with that said, I want to know, you've had some crazy growth here in the last decade. How many restaurants do you currently own, and are they all Hawker's brand, or do you have different concepts?
Yeah, so we've been super blessed along the way, and right now we are at 15 restaurants. They are all Hawkers. They have, I would say, 80% the same menu. We do try really hard to become a part of the communities that we're in and not just takers from the communities that go into, right? And I think we hope that separates us from this idea of a chain restaurant, is rather than just like plopping it in, same four walls, same menu, same whatever, right? Like we try really hard to kind of integrate into the community. And yeah, they are all Hawkers, but we're very thoughtful about our growth and where we put them. And so people are probably usually surprised when they hear we have 15 locations because they might
Yeah.
have only heard of one or two of them. And we love that because we've kind of geographically grown very differently than in fact, than any other restaurant concept I know. We have locations in D.C. and in Dallas and Nashville and Charlotte and Atlanta. And so we've kind of taken this approach we're going to go find the, for lack of a better way to say it, kind of the hip neighborhoods, the cool neighborhoods in these different markets, like the Mills 50 of Atlanta, of, Nashville. And we're gonna plant the flag in that neighborhood in these bigger MSAs. And if it goes well, which it has, then we may do one or two more that are kind of maybe more suburban or just in another part of town.
Right. Once you build a name in that city, right, you get a foothold,
right.
and then you have brand recognition. What's MSA mean?
Oh, metropolitan statistical area. It's just kind of like when you say DC, it's like the whole surrounding area.
I love that you were able to start in the Mills 50, Mills Park area of Orlando. It is absolutely one of the hippest, young, trendy, yet still our generation, us millennials. I graduated in UCF in 2006, so we're pretty similar in age, I imagine.
Yeah.
I love that area. And Orlando is just so great because we have so many little pockets like that and so much diversity in neighborhood and ethnicities and sexuality and just like you name it. Like it's such a great breeding ground. Something Thomas and I talked about on our podcast about how different corporate chains use Orlando in large part due to Disney and other factors, cultural factors, to test. So you said, boom, this is the perfect area in Orlando. All these other big cities are going to have hipster spots like that. Let's pick them and do it. I mean, it seems so simple on its surface, good, smart.
Yeah. It's and so far so good. So we're just trying really hard to be thoughtful and not. But what I don't want to do is grow and have 10 across Orlando, and all of a sudden we're kind of this dilutive brand, right? We want it to be special. We want it to be kind of iconic to a neighborhood, and even if we have 50 or 60 locations across the country, we want it to still feel like it's your Hawkers.
Absolutely. Well said. Your Hawkers. Real quick side note to the listener out there. I'm here to help you. Okay. This is a real estate lifestyle podcast after all. And when it's your time to make a real estate decision, think of me. I am here to help. I love helping people. That's why I'm in real estate. That's why I do charity every Friday, like I am today at 3:30 after this recording. I'll be volunteering at the New Image Youth Center. A portion of every one of my commissions will be donated to either that charity or the charity of your choice. So if you want to work with somebody like that, choose me, and I'm a listing specialist. I will help your home sell, not just fast, but also at the highest price. And I have an entire podcast episode outlining what I'm talking about. It's not just a cliche. There's actual strategies to make that happen. Look, real estate doesn't have to be hard or stressful. Work with the right pro. Work with me. Okay. Caleb, another hard-hitting question for you. Do you have UCF football tickets or what, man? Season tickets.
I don't have season tickets right now. I know. Okay, I have a hall pass on this because we have an 8-month-old baby. So
congratulations.
We have a 5-year-old boy and an 8-month-old boy, and we have taken our 5-year-old to several UCF games, and he's just getting to the age where he absolutely loves them. So I see it's on the horizon that we're gonna be back in the game soon. But right now every weekend is either, it's A, filled with birthday parties. Like I've never been to so many children's birthday parties, and B, frankly, it's just unpredictable, right, with the baby. But yes, I am a huge UCF fan. I'm ready to re-engage. Do you have tickets?
I do. I have season
I'm guessing
tickets.
You do. Okay.
I also am a father of 3 kids under the age of 8.
Wow,
so I'm with you.
Congrats.
I've taken them since they were in the baby carrier.
That's awesome.
Now generally it's where's Nitro? They just want to watch, I'm watching the game. They're looking for Nitro. It's all good.
Yeah. We're going through that stage where we're kind of like my son is really into soccer and basketball. So we're trying to, we want to let him see everything. We took him to a few Magic games, took him to a few Orlando City games, and he's right now he's just loving all of it. And it's so fun, right? It's such a fun age.
It is a fun age, and Orlando's a great town for it. We have just enough professional sports teams, and if you want to lump UCF into that, it's great for families. But we're not we don't have the crazy history where tickets are uber expensive, like if we were in Boston or something. So the barriers to entry as an Orlando sports fan are pretty low. I want to talk about more of a broad situation. You were clearly an entrepreneur from day one, really, in your professional career. For the listener out there who's an entrepreneur, what are some key words of advice you can offer to them?
I think I touched on the grit piece of it earlier. I think that if I'm thinking about characteristics that, and I've thought about this a lot, right? Because as I've kind of grown in my leadership and just grown the company, and I've had a lot of, you get older and you have kids and you have introspection, you have kind of self-awareness. And I thought a lot about like, what could I do better, and what have I done well, and what's attributed to the success I have, and then what's detracted from success that I could have had. And I think I could sum it up with, I feel like grit is a defining characteristic of a successful entrepreneur without a doubt. You have to love the challenge and love the journey. And I said this to someone else recently. I told the story, but it's just a good one, kind of a microcosm of what that means. I remember when COVID hit, it was about 2 months in. So this was probably May of 2020. And, the restaurant world obviously just got completely rocked. And this was before any government assistance was out. This is when cash was dwindling. This was like every day you're managing like dollars and not like hundreds of dollars. Like, all right, who can we pay today, and how do we make this work? And what landlord is going to have to live without rent this month? And I remember my dad called me and he was like, hey, I know, and my dad and I have a great relationship, but he's like, hey, I know COVID is like crushing you guys. Like, how are you doing? Are you okay, son? He was worried about me.
Sure.
And I remember I said to him, I was like, Dad, when the Lakers were down by 2 and there was 3 seconds left on the clock, Kobe Bryant wanted the ball and I got the ball. And I love that feeling. I'm not Kobe Bryant, right? I'm not trying to compare myself to Kobe Bryant, but I think there is some similarities in this like grit and this idea of like, just like, I love the pressure and I love the challenge, and I just thrive in it. Sometimes I think I'm like a wartime general, because a lot of times I like things a little bit stressful. Like if it's real easy, I'm kind of like, well, let me go find something else to work on.
Right. You like the challenge. Sure.
Like a challenge. So I think that's a big part of it. I also think, and this is something I had to learn, and my wife has really helped me a lot, and maturity. But I think being an entrepreneur and being a CEO are two very different things. And there's lots of entrepreneurs that are not great leaders. And I think if you really want to grow your business and you want to scale with it, you have to develop leadership skills too. You can't just be like, hey, I've got a great idea and I'm going to bust my butt to get it done. You have to be able to scale with the company. Right. And I think what I learned is, it's funny because a lot of times kind of this confidence, borderline cockiness can kind of almost sort of be a driver for entrepreneurs. Like, you know what, I can do it better than anybody else. And that's almost a little bit of like how you get started. Right. But then as you go on, you realize that pride can be such a huge hindrance to leadership. And so I learned, I don't know, over the last 10 years or so, I've really learned that how important vulnerability is, and how important just authentic relationships with team members and with everybody, but especially with team members is. And I think that would be my other kind of key learning, and what I would encourage people to think about is being super authentic in your leadership style and being vulnerable, being willing to say, I don't have the answer. In fact, I don't even know the answer, but let's go find it together. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We're growing. We're developing together. I think that has been a key to how we've gotten here for sure.
Hearing you say that and knowing what your accolades are and your growth, frankly, doesn't surprise me at all. I don't think it's possible for you to grow the way that you have in the time frame that you've had with your friends along your side without having that sort of inclusive, empathetic leadership style. In my opinion, that should be how all leaders from the tops of government down to parents should be. And the world would be a better place if everybody could put their ego to the side, regardless of their talents, regardless of if they're Kobe or JJ Redick. Like, we're all in this together. And, you know, if you're not Kobe, we'll say you're at least Keanu Reeves from the movie The Replacements. Okay. I don't know if you remember that.
I'll take it. I do remember. Yeah, great movie.
Yeah,
Great
it is a
movie.
great
Love
movie.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, he's a character, isn't he?
Yeah.
Kaleb, what a great conversation. I love the way we just ended that. Such words of wisdom. And I look forward to the entrepreneurs listening out there, absorbing that and just taking it and growing their businesses. I want to remind the listeners out there about Kaleb's and Hawker's push to grow with their $7.5 million fundraising campaign. And Kaleb, what is the easiest way if somebody out there is an investor or has a group of investors with them, what's the easiest way for them to contact you or the Hawkers brand to get involved in that fundraising campaign?
Yeah. So you can visit our website, eathawkers.com. You can DM us at our Instagram. So it's at Eat Hawkers. So EAT Hawkers.
Okay.
Listen, if you really want to get in touch with me, shoot me an email, Kaleb@eathawkers.com. I'm a pretty open book. So happy to answer questions.
All right. I will definitely include Kaleb's website and IG handle. And if he wants me to include his email, I'll include that as well. So, and when I say included, I mean, it's going to be in the show notes on your podcast platform. So scroll down to the description, and below the description of the episode, you're going to see hyperlinks for all that. And you better believe you're going to see my contact information. My cell phone number is there. Text me. I'm also an open book. I am just here to help. Hopefully we can get together for some real estate services. And while you're on the podcast platform, getting my contact information or Kaleb's, go ahead and like and subscribe to my podcast, 5-star review. You know what to do. And you can share it with a link. Copy the link, post it on your social media, text it to at least one friend or family member. That's how I'm going to grow. And I know I would just be forever grateful for that. And always know that your best life in Orlando is within reach. Keep embracing every moment. Kaleb, thank you so much for being on my podcast today.
Thank you, Phil. It was really fun.
Cheers.